Connecting. There we
Oh,
go. How
hi.
are
I'm so
you?
sorry about that. I got double booked.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
You have
I,
a few minutes? You're
yeah,
okay?
I'm here. I've got plenty of time for you. I actually cut theirs short. Book ending. I did a podcast just before. We were talking about everything that's happening in the world right now, Miss Fame Beauty, and it was just tight today because I'm trying to really create the most momentum with the
I hear
fact
you.
that I'm ready today.
Yeah,
So
it's funny. People are like, "How are you keeping yourself busy?" I'm like, "I'm eyes open to eyes shut." You and I, we're people that always we want to stay busy. It's like there's never enough hours in a day because we're just driven people. And I was just speaking to my audience that in the amazing time that we've known each other and we've had so many conversations about good things, bad things, vulnerabilities, strengths that we've never really gotten to speak as Miss Fame.
yeah.
I've seen you in person as Miss Fame at Mark and Char's wedding and all those things, but I'm used to interacting more with Kurtis. So this is like super exciting for me.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be able to spend time with you today. I've been noticing you've been doing lives almost every few days now. You have a
I have
lot of
to.
traction going on, which I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was sick, so I got put into a position where I felt like I had to contribute in some way while I was covering. I couldn't like go to the hospital. No one would let me go to work to help.
Right.
And it got a lot of traction. People oddly wanted to hear from their cosmetic dermatologist about what was going on in the COVID world. And I
Yep.
spent a lot of time educating myself and really speaking to a lot of people. Not that dissimilar to what you do every day. Sometimes we're put in odd positions where people look to us for advice or whatever. And we're keeping busy doing it. So tell me what you're doing today.
Well, I was my agent was trying to facilitate an interview. That's where it all started. Then when we asked what is best, we thought it was going to be a phone interview. They said it was going to be a Zoom meeting. They were going to record it, and then it's going to be attached to a podcast.
Yeah.
So it was literally 7 minutes of chaos. I was getting ready, and time everything takes more time. I had to prep
Yeah.
things and
Yeah.
many little details. I would usually have a few extra people helping me prepare my day, but because we're all at home alone, I'm having to
Yeah.
utilize the clothing I have in my closet, the hair I have in my travel bag from coming from Paris on my last trip before we had been hit extremely hard by
Yeah.
COVID-19. And so I'm just taking in opportunities with my agent, keeping me busy. It helps my mental health to have a
Yeah.
project on
Of
board.
course. Of course.
As an artist, I have a lot of my joy comes from going out into the world and meeting people, and I'm sure you understand that, but
Yeah.
working closely to people has been a part of the way I've kept my spirits high over the course of my creative path.
Yeah.
As a creative person, and my dogs are playing on the ground, so if you're hearing the funny noises, they're
How
just
are they
wrestling.
doing, the Datsuns?
Oh, they're doing the most right now. But so for me, it was really important that I not only stayed creative, and though I can't be around people, that I'm finding ways of being around people like we're doing now.
Yeah.
So today it was the interview, and now it's us on live, which I've
Yeah.
got plenty of time for. And then I'm doing a photo shoot, and it'll be out. I can't release all of the info about it,
Okay.
but I have a few pieces that I haven't worn yet that were gifted while I was in Paris. I'm very grateful for that. That'll curate a really beautiful image for this outlet that we're going to be shooting for. So I
Yeah.
have to kind of code talk, but I'm
Yeah.
basically shooting an editorial from home,
Yeah.
which is
That's
different
kind
than
of cool.
what I've ever done. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different.
What you said it better than I said it. I'm the same way. Like I need to interact with people. That's what keeps me busy. That's what keeps me uplifted. And it's what I've always done. And I do it for myself as much as I do for my audience. And I think it works out that way. It works out very, very well for people like us because people feel the authenticity of wanting to interact. And it's a two-way street. My first question for you is that, you're a makeup artist as well as performer and model and various other things. Now, I'm sure you're obviously doing all your hair and makeup. How is it now compared to when you're on a shoot? Do you like to do 100% your own makeup and hair? What's it like
I'm
comparatively?
self-reliant. You have to be. I was taking a lot of inspiration from the women that were from the era of glamour, like the women from the Hollywood silver screen from the
Yeah, yeah,
30s, 40s, 50s, as well as supermodels in the 90s. I mean, the women that were in power of their career when they had an image that needed to be portrayed, those type of women knew how to do their makeup, and they knew what looked best for their hair proportions wise, for their body and for their face. So for me, there's a few factors. You have to have an understanding on fashion and style, proportion. And, you know, I did hair for 7 years before I did makeup. And then before, you know, makeup bridged me to modeling. Was always a part of it, but it was modeling as Kurtis. And I was always telling a bit more of a creative flow as a man who wanted to be, you know, my identity's evolved over time. And drag was an outlet for me to express my feminine. And then it softened to being more of a like a glamour girl. And a muse to Paris Fashion Week, and being able to create these really iconic moments for gender non-conforming beauty to be represented and wear these significantly impactful fashion pieces from the houses that I've always dreamed of.
I'm sure Miss Fame has evolved so much over the years, right? You didn't just become Miss Fame, right? And I'm sure Miss Fame's continuing to evolve, correct?
Yeah. When I started, I didn't have the name Miss Fame. I did a drag show when I was 19. I'm 35. I was just a bridge. But I started out early, like, you know, the first time I went to a bar that I could do that. It was all for play. It was for Halloween. It was for birthday. I moved to bigger cities over the years. And then Miss Fame was born right at the midst of me coming to New York about 9 years ago. So April 11th was my 9-year New York wedding anniversary.
Right.
We're almost for a decade. And I felt like when I came here, I stopped doing hair. I started doing makeup. And at night I would go to clubs and I would go out as Miss Fame, turn a look. I had no money. I was really resourceful. Black always works. And as long as your makeup's beautiful, people don't really look.
Right.
Now, in fashion, I could never say that because they're looking at the clothing as well as the execution from the neck up. Yeah. So I have the ability to keep Miss Fame going, at least from the neck up. If I had a towel on just my face, I could do everything from home. I could wrap it around. That could be the fantasy. I could say, well, until fashion returns, we're doing a towel series for the next 365 days of the year.
That's right. You know, it's funny, and based on why we originally met, which is about skin, you're really different. You're dealing with so many different types of looks, whether you're Kurtis or variations of Miss Fame. You're dealing with different types of makeup, and you don't just have like one makeup look. So I'm sure you have to be very fastidious about how it affects your skin, because you are human, and it's one of the greatest things I find about our relationship. You're not afraid to show your vulnerability on your sleeve. And your skin, you've had issues with skin in your past, so you must have to be very careful, right?
It's been a very invested journey. I mean, I've been, to be honest, when you start out, I talk to a lot of people about skin issues because they're coming at it from the nature, primarily like a plant-based diet. My skin looks better, but it doesn't mean I don't have acne or oily prone skin. I'm going to face all of that still. And makeup it's a congestive. So I'm always putting something on and then really thoroughly removing it. So have an at-home routine that works for your skincare. If you wear makeup, stuff that really cleans it but doesn't strip the skin. And then having a regular, I'd see you once a month for at least some type of laser, some type of firming treatment. I think as I've gotten into my mid-30s, keeping my face firm and keeping me from having very deep expressive lines in my forehead through Botox. You know, we've done some filler and done some Botox, and we've done that to manage the proportions of my face so I look beautiful and feel androgynously beautiful as Kurtis and Miss Fame. I didn't want to be over masculinated in my structure.
Well, that's what I find so amazing to work with you. And I've worked with many members of the LGBTQA community before. What I love specifically working with you is that we're not fulfilling any specific stereotype of beauty. The dimensions and proportions that we work with, they work as Kurtis, they work as Miss Fame, and I really think it, from an artistic standpoint on my side, it really is a modern culmination of what beauty is, which is the ability to transform, to do different things, versatility, and it basically self-care. Now, you, unlike many people, and in regards to the skincare, you know what works for you. I think the most important thing people can do is not listen to this dermatologist or esthetician. You have to get to know yourself and your skin, and then you could piecemeal the advice, because there's nothing that works for everybody.
Right.
And I think because of the amount of things that you do to yourself when you transform with makeup and hair, you have to be even more attuned to that. And, it
And
poses challenges.
yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me, I know at times in your career also, you've had to stand up for yourself in the fashion world, in the modeling world, and you've always been a source of light for people in your community. How is that? Do you see any challenges that are difficult now with what's going on with COVID or moving forward? Or what are some of the philanthropic things that I see that you're doing?
Yeah, right now I'm just keeping myself plugged into what feels authentic to this current situation. It's not, this is something that we're taking a day at a time because we really don't know the end of this. We haven't gotten there yet. So amidst the progress of daily situations facing us, and so much intensity when you turn on Facebook or Twitter and you just see so much information. For me, that gets me really emotional.
You must have so many people reaching out to you, right? For
Yeah,
guidance.
I have a lot of individual people reaching out that are struggling, a lot of LGBTQIA young people that are really seeking some sanctuary within people. They're like, well, if you're at that point of your life, maybe you can offer some form of guidance or advice. There's been some funny little things where people said, can you please give me one of your wigs? I'm in desperate need. And it makes me laugh because people are finding comedy in the midst of the situation, and we have to laugh at times. It can't always be so.
How many are there?
I have probably 10 human hair wigs and like 15 synthetic wigs, but over the last years in fashion, I only do human hair because it just looks better. It moves in the wind. It just looks better.
Yeah.
I can color it and change it depending on the dress. So if I need an immediate shift, I'll have the hairdressers I'm working with when we get back to that. But in the past months before we locked down, we could adjust it. And that's what I love about human hair.
Yeah.
Plus, it makes me feel like it's more realized. Everything I'm doing is more authentic. So I've been saying yes to a lot of things coming my way, things that originally I wasn't having so many requests for being of service in such a way. But yesterday I posted a picture at the park walking my dogs. I had a mask on and a hat. And the hat says non-essential. I have a friend here in the city selling these hats. And the proceeds of the hat sale go to providing from the Village Den, which is delicious down in the village. They're providing 2 meals to essential workers at the front lines of this. So they're finding ways to generate, something of interest that has a message, and then also contributing 100% of proceeds back to feeding our hardworking doctors and nurses. Also working with AMFAR the last couple days. I just worked with Corrine Rotfeld and AMFAR. We did the runway show that would traditionally be in the south of France. We did it from home. So they had all of the big supermodels, Adriana Lima. I'm just having to think.
Miss Fame.
Miss Fame, and Karolina Korkova. Like just all of the iconic Victoria's Secret girls and a bunch of just really beautiful women. And we're doing it from home. We turned out looks from home. And then afterward, I was DMing, Karolina Korkova saying we were just paired behind each other when we did the video. And just, oh, you're amazing. And it was a dialogue. And I get to talk with people I respect. And also we're all working toward the proceeds going towards the finding a cure or solution in the midst of not knowing, I feel still like I'm in the clouds. I'm not in the medical field. I could not speak on this in a professional manner other than a lived experience of staying out of it. I'm literally staying in my house, and I walk the dogs once a day, and I wear a mask, and that's how I manage this.
Well, you're doing what you can do, and people will say to me, "What are you doing to keep busy?" I don't believe that there is anyone there who can't do their part in their own circle, even if that's just staying home or calling their mother a little bit more often or supporting people that are friends that maybe are a little bit more nervous. There's something for everyone to do out there. You don't have to be a doctor. And You know, you're just doing our part. I too have spoken to a lot of peers that I don't really get to speak to that much more. Instead of spending 5 minutes in a car on a phone catching up with people, I'm spending a half hour talking to them and really finding out what they're doing every day, how they're dealing, what our plans are. And I think that is some of the very few silver linings that we're having in all this, getting to speak to people,
Yeah,
like you said. So.
a lot more time.
Um,
You're
what
so
do you
right.
think? What do you think about the Met Gala? Come on, it's the first Monday. I can't believe. I mean, what's Anna gonna do?
I have no clue. I had a DM come in from somebody that was affiliated, I think, to the Met. I'm sure they're going to find a way to be creative about doing things from home again, because
Yeah,
everybody wants to create some form of buzz. You know, while we have a calendar in fashion, we have certain shows and schedules that are normally happening right now. That's impossible. You know, we couldn't go and celebrate fashion to that degree, and it's such a prestigious event. I've yet to go and experience the Met for myself. So for me to have, and a few of my sisters went last season, so it was really special to watch the breakthrough and queer culture yet again having visibility and celebrating it at such a forefront of fashion.
absolutely.
So we
Yeah,
will see. You know, I think Anna is clever. I mean, she's obviously a brilliant woman, a brilliant mind in this industry. She will find a way to make something possible. And
yeah,
it's probably all going to be this online, digital, creative.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
listen, the tools that we feared most, our phones, our iPads, our digital, even though it's expanding, it's
right.
clear that it's going to advance so much more. You know, the days of large runway shows may not be around for a while. Your
Yeah.
travel will be difficult to do for a while. Fortunately, you're a very self-sufficient individual. So whether you're doing it at home or on a runway, you can maximize things. But you know, I think it's just a matter of the people who have the ingenuity will find the way. And there are plenty of people out there, certainly in the fashion and the creative world, right?
I think it's a time for artists to really be celebrated,
Yeah,
because to keep things interesting for e-commerce and for all of this, you know, for all of these brands that are trying to find ways to continue to promote their product, they're going to have to look outward. And it's, you know, it's expected that you hire the it supermodel of our time, but also to keep things interesting because it's from home, and these women and men don't have their beauty teams. They don't
yeah.
have their, you know, these are people that oftentimes are used to sitting back on their phone and having a full squad of people get them ready. And
That's how I am every day.
exactly same. I mean, I don't know how I peeled myself out of bed and I still turned out like okay.
That's
Uh,
right.
but it's definitely an opportunity to see creatives celebrated and
Yeah,
shining through this marketing strategy. So in a way, maybe this is an opportunity for artists to really
absolutely.
thrive and make some real money and build their lives out. So, you know, we all can't be a sinking ship. There has to be some silver lining for
Absolutely.
somebody to thrive, you know?
Creativity always comes out of tough times. I always say, you know, I grew up in New York City, and I would always say, you know, everyone always believes the good old days of this or the good old days of that. But I remember growing up in the 80s in New York, and New York wasn't as safe of a place. It wasn't as gentrified. There were good neighborhoods, there were bad neighborhoods. But I remember there being so much artistry
Yeah.
going on. You can go to places, whether you're in the West Village or in the meatpacking district when it was a meatpacking district, or Alphabet City in the days of Keith Haring and Jean-Michel Basquiat. And there was such a booming creative place. And I think that has influenced my life so much. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes when society has problems, we look to the creative people to uplift us. So
We need it. We need to
absolutely.
smile and we need to
Yeah.
laugh, even on our worst day. And by the way, Dr. Appa's here.
Oh
Hey,
my
Dr.
God.
Appa, he did my teeth, so I'm giving you
Yes, the
a shout
man with the
out.
teeth.
Yes,
I
he did
watch
a
the
brilliant
guy
job.
work out every morning on his stories. You know, I don't feel like I have to work out. I watch him work out. He
Yeah,
sweats. You know,
he
it's all
sweats for the
good.
both of us.
That's right. That's great. Now I want to hear a little bit of what's going on with the beauty line.
Yeah, of course. I actually have it right next to me because I just talked about it in the last interview. So right now, I have, interestingly enough, there's things coming forward for me creatively. You know, I've taken the time off. I won't say it hasn't driven me mad not knowing, but I've also allowed it to. I played with the idea of acceptance. You
Yeah,
know, you kind of have to go with it. This is bigger than us.
yeah,
There's no way that by by going trailblazing into it out of anger and resentment that you're going to change the reality of sickness. People are getting sick.
Yeah.
So as a person who has to be resourceful, I continue to put out the content that I had that was kind of backstocked, or editorials that we're launching now, and thinking, what am I going to do over the course of the next weeks? But I'm realizing that today is a prime example. I am getting ready to shoot an editorial that will be a published story, and it's coming from my own two hands, you know, me getting ready, my brain, my eyes, my hands, and my words, full circle. With the beauty brand, I have obviously Miss Fame Beauty. I have one of my PR boxes here. It's harder to see. You can check it on the website at missfamebeauty.com.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a little translucent.
You worked very hard for that. I know, we've talked about that.
Yes.
It is not easy putting out a beauty brand that looks as chic as that.
Thank you. And what we're doing is we launched in September, and we really sat back and thought, like, this is a big, huge investment. When you are trying to develop a product and market a product, and for me, I'm an independent business. It's just me and my husband. So really, you go as much as you can. And from traveling and never being home, a lot of my energy was going to being the image of Miss Fame and creating the momentum in Europe. But when coming back and having faced with this lockdown, we're having some conversations, some business strategy coming up that was very unexpected. So look forward to sharing new products and within the year, which makes me happy because it means my brand will continue to develop and ideally thrive. I'm very proud of the vision I've created for Miss Fame Beauty. It's authentic. It's what I use on myself, and it works because I'm an artist and I love texture and formula. But it's also something I want people to feel proud of when they have it in their kit, that it's something they look at as an esteemable asset. I have products in my kit that are from like Charlotte Tilbury and Pat McGrath. So those type of products are my esteemed, like high level product. For me, this is a great way to align them up and say these can stand amongst the icons and the empires of this industry.
Artists are always inspired by artists. You have to recognize that and work with it and acknowledge it. And I think that's going to be great. I mean, I can't believe we've been talking for a half hour already. I know you are a very, very busy person, but man, I really want to thank you for talking. I mean, I love seeing you in person. This is great too. And I know we're going to be together soon again. And like I said, I was so excited to speak to you because you've always been an inspiration to me and so many other people. So great to see you. All right.
Wait, what are we doing? My Botox and my filler have been quite managed. I think we were still good.
I think you're okay. I mean, you look very good from here.
I'm not, and of course I've got my...
I may need a little makeup work over myself. I get the needles and you bring the blush.
I got you.
We'll work it. Okay, and I want to see some of those wigs. I may need a little help. This is the longest I've been.
All right, if you want to be a blonde, I got you. Taken care
of. All right,
of.
darling.
Send
love you.
My regards to the family. Lots of love.
You got it.
Continue to be well.
Okay, see you later. Bye. Everybody.